and our next speaking topic is from adversity to global impact, a life dedicated to humanity, justice and leadership. This is a 7-minute speaker session, and please welcome Archbishop and Master Professor Dr. A.E. Sullivan, please.
Good evening, everyone. From adversity to global impact, a life dedicated to humanity, justice, and leadership. Certainly, I just want to say I'm honored to be amongst all of the distinguished guests, delegates, and for the convener and this wonderful event. I have not slept since Wednesday night, so I'm hoping I wouldn't be too far at the end, because I'm afraid I was going to go to sleep, but I'm awake. Adversity is defined as a very difficult, unfortunate, unfavorable situation, such as hardship, misfortune, or serious trouble. And I've had to deal, as many others had in my life, with a lot of adversities. People that meet me today and know who I am or what I've done, they see that and have no idea what I've come through until I share my story. So I faced many adversities, afflictions, calamities, and crises in my life, starting at a very young age. I grew up facing a lot of things that I didn't even understand at the time. My parents separated when I was 3 years old, followed by divorce. Grew up without my dad involved in my life, which is a check against you, the way the world has become. Had no relationship with my dad. At times I had a bad relationship with my mom, and my mother had a bunch of strikes against her. Living in America, being a woman is a check, being black, being poor, being divorced, many times going through times of unemployment, overqualified, underqualified, and all of that nonsense. And so many things, dealing with poverty, dealing with racism, discrimination, injustice, and so much more time won't even permit. And there was times as a child that I didn't even want to live. I'm talking about when I was young. I didn't understand all that was happening in my life, but thankfully I found faith in God. He found me as a child, and Jesus Christ made a difference in my life. And that difference caused me to learn about love and faith and hope and justice and so much more. That faith that I have in God taught me a lot of things, such as adversity is the rich soil of growth. Growth is a process of change and the evolution of self, blossoming through that adversity. So we go through it for a reason and a purpose. We may not know it in the beginning, but if we stick it out and go through it, we'll learn some things that will not only help us, but those around us, those that we care about. Like a flower, our growth is not defined by how fast you blossom, but by the strength of your roots. And so growth is where the real living is at. Anything that does not grow will eventually die. As we know this with vegetables and fruits and plants, but we often forget that with human lives. And so we need to be growing so we're not dying. And through my adversities in life, I learned to grow my faith in God because I needed someone stronger than me. I learned to care about my fellow man because that's pleasing in God's sight. I learned to champion human rights causes, seeing so many disparities myself as a child. I learned to advocate for those who had no platform and no voice. And I learned to become resilient. And if the truth be told, many of us would not have discovered our strength if we had not experienced brokenness and weakness and extreme difficulties. And so when we talk about going through adversity and moving on into the humanity is something, if you really look at our world and what's happening all over the world, when we've ignored and marginalized and misused or abused our fellow man, then we've lost all of our civility and we no longer have civilization. When humanity is no longer more important than education, justice, or leadership, then nothing else is of any importance. And all of those things are important, and I fought for many things. But the reality is, it all starts start to recognizing our common humanity. And some years ago, I used to hear people say when I was growing up, and I started saying it. I started saying our society's going to the dogs, but I stopped saying it out of respect to the dogs. Because the reality is, we've got to recognize we're on this planet that we need to share in whatever village, town, hamlet, municipality, state, province, or nation we live in. We need to be there for one another. And there's just so much, when you look at our world, there's so much fight over politics and fame and money, and there's war and all these things. None of that is more important than humanity. Humanity is important to our Creator, it should be important to us. And listen, when you talk about justice, too many people in our world are victims. Victims of human trafficking, rape, assault, terrorism, mass shootings, slavery in its various forms exists on our planet. And because that's going on all over the world, we need more people to be educated about human rights. One of the various things I've been involved with in my life, I can't even tell you all the things because it would take too long, but I'm a human rights consultant. And I've been honored to speak in a lot of places concerning human rights, concerning civil rights, social justice, many other things. And in every nation, we need to lift up leadership. This is the final point is leadership, because there's a leadership vacuum in our world. There's many managers, but not many leaders. And if the truth be told, and we ought to tell it, a lot of people are fighting for politics, power, and money, but our world needs servant leaders. People that show love, people that exhibit peace, people that project hope, and stand for truth. And I've been honored in my lifetime to help feed the poor all over the world, to house the homeless, to clothe the naked, to provide counseling free of charge for decades, just serving, because of the things I went through, I took that and projected it into a life to help other people. Because our time on this earth is short, and at the end, it comes down to what have we done for others. Because they don't care that we know until they know that we care. And so through the books I've published and through many other ways, I constantly have reiterated this over and over again. I never forgot where I came from. I never forgot what I went through. I never forget where I'm headed. I'm headed towards the goal. And I want to be fulfilled at the end of the day that I've done what's right in the sight of God, and knowing I made a difference in our world. And let me just say this. In our world, we can do better. We should do better. And we must do better in every nation. Not just mine, but in every nation. And we can do it together, looking out for one another. And that's what it comes down to. Thank you very much.